Right, some of you might remember my introduction on transaction analysis, or TA. Now, TA explains the dynamics between people and the behavior between people. And it's really helpful, I think, to understand the dynamics of human behavior because, well, it's not about like avoiding things and when things go wrong. It's more about diagnosing them, like with my dodgy sound cable. It's about kind of like knowing how to diagnose communication problems, like my broken microphone, and and see what went wrong. Okay, I mean, look, just talking about the drama triangle and things, and about transaction analysis, and talking about AS, it's not going to help you avoid AS in future. We'll get to AS in a moment. So transaction analysis, anyway, which I'm previously made a video, games people play. As part of a T&T's book club, we did a live stream going into more games that people play. And that was coined by Eric Berne back in the 1950s. And Eric Berne was this American army psychiatrist. Now, you've all heard of the drama triangle, I guarantee it. If you haven't, don't worry. It's really simple to understand. And we're going to go through it. Now, it's got these roles. Mike, click, click, click. Mike will figure this out very shortly. Mike will be back with you in just a moment. Add a media source. Extra camera. Oh, it is here. Oh, good. Video resolution. Do I want to mirror it? No, I don't. Then you wouldn't be able to see anything. I'm going to take the overlay chat off just for a moment. Oh, I have to turn it on here as well. Well, that's not very good. No, I don't want to do that. Remove. We get there eventually. We do. We get there. We do. So this triangle of showing three roles, yes, it kind of requires three people, but not always. There are examples here of where two people can be involved in a drama triangle and just moving between the roles themselves. In fact, a lot of the way this works, in fact, a lot of the way the drama triangle is talked about is wrong. Well, at least based on the original theory, right? Because the idea with the drama triangle is that people can actually move between these roles, and it's more to do with the movements between them than it is to do with where you are on the drama triangle. It's more about how many switches there are, and you can count them. Cinderella has 8. I know. Who knew? We're going to go through it because the original paper, which is really worth reading, and it's only about 4 pages long, talks about fairy tales. Cinderella is an example. Little Red Riding Hood is an example. And the example I've done here, which I call the full-blown ass spiral, is the Pied Piper, where we have the following roles. We have a mayor, which I forgot to print out. We have the Pied Piper, obviously. Pied Piper, that's the Pied Piper. Sorry, my hands are covered in ink, but you know, it happens. We have a rat, or as we say on the Isle of Man, Longtail. Strange superstition. And then we have some children. Spoiler alert, they all die. So that's going to keep happening. Sorry. I'll just figure it out. So you can think of this persecutor, rescuer, victim thing as a three-way of dysfunction. Classic ass, I suppose. Everyone's got, I wrote here on some paper, everyone's got some ass in their relationships. Doesn't matter what relationships they are, they have ass in them. Sorry, let me check the chat. Re-intro, thanks everyone. Mike is crackling. He was saying like Mike is crackling, like again. The feed was lost. I'm backwards? Really? That's old, right? We're good, right? Things are okay. There's crackling again. And now? I'm sorry. Mirrored? I have a preview here and I'm not mirrored. What's going on? Right. Now, now my preview is mirrored, and it's probably mirrored for you guys. All right, okay, as long as this stuff here isn't mirrored and my camera stops looking at these children's eyes, that would be great. Thank you very much. Yeah, don't look at the children. Thank you very much. Okay, we better just do this or it is never going to get done. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So in this fairy tale, there is a town, and the town is led by a mayor, and the town is just overrun with rats. Okay. Now, the mayor is like, help. It's down here. The mayor starts off like, holy shit. The mayor starts off with a holy shit. My town is full of rats. There are rats everywhere. The rats are in the persecutor position. The victim is effectively the mayor at the start of this little journey here. And what happens is the Pied Piper comes along and goes, hey, I can get rid of all of your rats. But the Pied Piper comes along in this kind of like appeasement role, right? Like, I can solve this crisis, but you're going to have to pay because, you know, medieval capitalism. So the Pied Piper steps in and actually solves the rat crisis with the music, okay? And keeps his side of the deal. We don't need to go into the details. I'm not the best storyteller of fairy tales, but that's what happens. But where the story becomes interesting is that the mayor goes, when the Pied Piper comes back and says, hey, I need to be paid now, the mayor goes, ha ha, you've done the job, you've done the gig, fuck you, I'm not going to pay you. And the Pied Piper goes, no, fuck you, pay me. And then basically the mayor never really leaves this sort of like victim kind of thing, although he does kind of go here and he's like, fuck you, pay me. No, I'm going to pay you, etc., right? The rats have gone. The rats no longer exist. I told you I'm shit at telling stories. So basically, that's the first flip. So the mayor sort of moves. Mayor moves into persecutor role. Pied Piper moves into the victim role. There is no rescuer here. We don't need to necessarily have people in like a three-way drama triangle, you know, the classic kind of, you know, he loves her, she loves her, he loves him, kind of going around a circle and who loves who and what's going on. We don't need to do it. It's not necessarily like a soap opera or whatever. It literally can just be like, right, the rats are fucked off now, they're dead. And we just got these two and they've just changed position. What happens next? Is the cat wants to come in? No? Okay, anyway. The children get brought in. And this is really perverse, as it is with an awful lot of really bizarre medieval fairy tales. Because what happens is the Pied Piper, who's gone from rescuer, I'll help you, to victim, to, you know, I'm not going to get paid, becomes a, well, fuck you then, my magic flute, I'm going to take some children. This is so going to get me demonetized. I'm going to get some children and I'm going to take them away. And that's exactly what he does. He leads the children away in the same vein as he did with the rats. And the point is that everyone, maybe except for the children, plays ass in this story. So, you know, even if he started, or he's, you know, the Pied Piper maybe started as an appeaser. He might have started as an appeaser, but eventually became a victim, eventually became a persecutor. The mayor started as a victim, became a persecutor, ended up as a victim again. The children, well, they were always victims in this role. The rats, they were mostly victims in this role as well. They started off as persecutors, persecuting the mayor, as it were, the mayor role or the town. They ended up as a victim as well. And the Pied Piper ends in the persecutor role. The end. You can count the number of swaps there were. But basically, this whole town runs on ass. whenever expectations break, says Mike in his little notes over here, which I don't think you can read. This is not that helpful for you, but I'll put it here anyway because it's easier for me to read too. This is what my notes look like normally. This is me writing this at 7 p.m., half an hour before starting the live stream. Why do people do it? Why do people play these roles? Well, they do it for psychological relief. They do it because of a payoff. And we talked about payoffs with transactional analysis when I made a YouTube video and live stream about transactional analysis. I mean, ultimately, the way to resolve this, any of these sorts of issues, and it's not necessarily sort of adult ego state to adult ego state, not with a fairy tale anyway. The fairy tale example has to go in the bin because we can't really work with that anymore because it's fairy tales. It's like weird medieval capitalism fairy tale. I'll put that to one side for a second. I'll stick it over there. And I pulled this one out of my ass earlier. Now, this might be slightly hard for you to read. So what can I do about that? I can move the camera down. Right. Shit. Okay. Oh, man. I'm not cut out for this YouTube stuff. I've just got cables to nowhere. I've got cameras doing stuff. I have battery packs falling from the sky. But I try. So here's the same diagram again. This time in green, I've written, and I did this at 5 minutes to the show going live, which just talks about, I don't know. I just had a load of ass puns. So I'm sorry, everyone. Okay. Right. Let's start with the rescuer. Rescuer is a nice, easy one to understand, actually. Rescuer, let me fix your ass. So I've labeled some of the games. Literally, these are the games people play from transactional analysis onto this drama triangle. And I've got let me fix your ass, which is, it's actually quite literally the yes, why don't you, yes, but game. I've also put in here Captain Save Ass as well, which is the rescuer role, which turns into the victim role, which is I'm only trying to help you. So that's basically someone who is trying to be helpful and they get rebuffed a number of times back. Usually, you know, they've come in a little bit, a bit context blind. If you imagine you've got someone who we're talking about Captain Save Ass actually. I'm not talking about kissing ass. It's just right. Okay, we're talking about like Captain Save Ass for a second. This one, like, you know, when you've got like somebody playing the yes but game and they're saying, I'm working on this problem. Let's say it's putting a light bulb in, and they can't figure out how to put a light bulb in, and it's like I can't figure this out. Like some of them have got this like weird bayonet fitting. Some of them have got this weird screw fitting. I've got the wrong one. I don't know. What should I do? And I've been working on this problem for hours, like all day. I've spent all day trying to get this light bulb into this socket and I can't figure it out. And if you come along and say, hey, what have you thought about this? Or have you thought you could just do this? Or maybe do it that way? What you're actually saying on a psychological sort of level, as opposed to a social level, is something along the lines of, I've just come in on this problem. I've only been here 1 minute and I already know what the issue is. You may have been working on it for hours, but you haven't got a fucking clue because you're stupid. That's what the other person hears. So Captain Save Ass comes in as a rescuer. Eventually ends up getting rebuffed from the number of why don't you yes buts. Often is seen, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been, you know, called names like, you know, arrogant or whatever. and you are literally just trying to help. Sometimes you shouldn't try and help. You have to kind of like lead people if you want to help them. Like, it takes fucking ages. Like, how long does it take to change a light bulb? You could actually give someone the solution, but then they'll think you're an asshole. Or you could sort of like gently prompt them. I mean, it's not always like, it's so annoying. It's so frustrating because it's a very neurotypical, very holistic way to be. But that's how it is. Captain Save asked, I'm trying to help you, rescuer. Anyway, I've drawn it on this vertices because all of these lines are drawn wrong, by the way. They should all have like double-ended arrows on them because it's about the movement. So you might come in as a rescuer to somebody who's got a complaint or an issue. Somebody saying, for example, my poor ass. Poor me. They want sympathy and attention. And you come in and say, hey, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? And they think, well, I've been working on this problem for fucking hours. Like, what makes you think you know what the answer is? Well, I'm only trying to help you. And then you start moving. You'll end up moving around from rescuer to victim because now you feel like shit. So there is that, okay? We've gotten a few more from the victim side of things. I can think of loads more for victim than I can for any of the others. Victim, no one appreciates my ass. The actual game, written in black, is the actual transactional analysis game. So, for example, no one appreciates my ass is yes, but kick, and then kick me immediately following. If we go on to kick my ass, this is an area I spend a lot of time in. I'm often in kick my ass. Is just like an internal little drama triangle playing in my head where I'm just trying to make things perfect. I'm trying to make things as good as I can possibly make them. I'm trying to live up to a standard that, I have for myself. Sometimes it can be, it's not so much now, but it can be, you're self-sacrificing, and what you really want is for people to notice you. I think it's fair to say that when I make YouTube videos, I do want people to watch. I mean, I'm making them for a purpose, right? But yeah, I'm not playing the kick my ass game there, really. But I am possibly playing a perfectionism game. Okay, let me just spin that around a bit. Okay. All right, so anyway, kick my ass, victim. What are you doing? There's always a psychological payoff here. And that payoff isn't like, hey, you're Ocean's 11 and you're going to make $1 million or something, or you're doing it for whatever. Like, none of this doesn't have to be conscious. It's not like a super motivated effort. It's like you need relief. You're scratching an itch, actually. All right. My poor ass, slightly different. That's more of a poor me. And usually that means, that person needs sympathy, attention, rather than persecuting. But we'll talk about how to get off someone's ass later. In fact, if you are actually finding yourself in this rescue role, I find myself in here quite a bit as a troubleshooter, as a professional troubleshooter. And it's like, if you're trying to save everyone else, you might be kissing ass. You might be kissing some serious ass. And I don't actually mean it as like brown nosing. I mean, literally like appeaser's got to appease. I've just seen a Taylor Swift lyric on my screen. See What You Made Me Do is actually the name of one of the transaction analysis games, but it's like, it's also haters gonna hate, right? Appeasers are gonna appease. But you'll always end up with a sore ass. I'm sorry for my ass puns. I've got so many ass puns. All I had before this live stream was ass puns, and that's where the drama triangle came. The ass was here before any of this stuff. I just had ass metaphors in my head. I've had a shit day, and all I had was ass puns in my head. If anyone's wondering, like, why is Mike talking about ass all the time? Okay. From a work perspective, sometimes actually helping people and being paid for it, like very much rescuer, very much like the Pied Piper. sometimes this is a way of covering your own ass. Sometimes it's a cover your ass kind of thing, and sometimes you do actually end up having to work professionally to do it. I think anyone who works sort of self-employed always finds themselves, from a capitalism perspective, on the rescuer side. Like whenever you are working, it's a big risk for being self-employed. Is you are always the rescuer. You've always got someone or some business coming to you, some hiring manager, whatever. They have a problem or they have a role they need to fill. There's something, you can provide that in exchange for money. And then the drama starts, Someone who didn't want you to be hired might say, I've got your ass. It might be an issue. It might be an issue there. Maybe they weren't consulted with the hiring process, or it's a project that's no longer going to be around, or you were hired purely to fulfill some sort of like quota or game. Yeah, you can have all kinds of issues. Literally, it's fucking annoying. I thought it'd be easier being self-employed. It's only easier at the top of the skill tree. It ain't easy the most of the way, I had quite a few messages about my last video saying, when I mentioned about tech being capitalism friendly, and it's like, I've reflected on it since then. Because yes, it is capitalism friendly, but only when you're at the top of the skill tree. It's not capitalism friendly at the bottom. Or the middle. Anyway. Told you so, asshole. See what you made me do. That's when a persecutor moves this way, down towards victim. Do you get it? Do you see where I've put these little arrows? What else have we got? There's tons more here. From the victim, I could just think of loads. I'm like, are you unable to move your ass? Then you might be stuck to the seat. I can't do it. Anyway, the ass strikes back. Explosive ass energy. Persecutor. Anyway. Don't forget to smash the like button. If you like my ass puns. Dutch Yannicka, thank you for all the ass messages I need to unhide. Amazing. So yeah, please do unhide the ass. Uncover the asses. Let's briefly do a few of these. Poor me, right? This one here, my poor ass, poor me. Players in this role here, in the victim, playing poor me, which is actually a transactional analysis game, you can go look it up, is when somebody seeks sympathy and not solutions. And when it becomes drama, because all of us feel that way sometimes, and it's fine and it's normal. And I'm not trying to tell people that you can't explosive ass. What is this? The Autocate channel. Sorry, what's the link between explosive ass and Chris? Sorry, apologies if you're watching. I just wondered what? Okay. Astronomical. Thank you very much, Helen. Oh, astronomical puns. Isn't it fun though? Isn't it fun? Anyway, so basically the issue here with my poor ass, my ass hurts. No one loves my ass. Down here is seeking some sympathy and attention. That's fine, by the way. I want to quickly say this. I want to validate that and say that's okay. All right, it's okay to seek attention, to seek sympathy. It's okay. All right, it's natural. It's good to have a support network around you that can provide that for you. Just because somebody says, "Poor me," and then somebody says, "Hey, look, here's some suggestions. Do you want suggestions or do you want time? Is it something you just want to hear from me? Is it something for me to listen for you, or do you want me to help you troubleshoot? Maybe whatever." Just because that puts you in these roles doesn't mean you're in this drama triangle. The drama triangle happens when people move, right? So this one here, so victim, my poor ass, poor me, Captain Save Ass, I'm trying to help you. I'm only trying to help you. Why are you being rude to me? I'm only trying to help you. All of a sudden, the rescuer needs something back. Like, if you're ever like providing sympathy or you're trying to provide help to people, the number one thing to know, and I don't know why this keeps dropping off like that. It's set to never time out, and it has tons of charge. Should have tons of charge. I think it's not charging when it's on. I think that's the problem I've got with it. But the issue there, I think what I might do is take a picture of this. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I will put the picture on the screen when the camera dies, because there's no way it's not going to fade at some point. The issue is here is just preventing these moves, right? All of them. It doesn't matter which direction it is. Like, if you're in one of these states, if you find yourself in one of these states, I have a friend who sometimes likes to play Drama Triangle, and I always know that Drama Triangle comes up when they mention a third friend. You know, they'll mention a third party. That for me is a clue that I'm in a drama triangle. You know, and I didn't realize it. So I've got nothing to go on. And some of you might think, oh well, I'm not hanging out with people in bars, or I'm not playing board game nights with people, so therefore I don't have any friends. But the fact is, this happens online all the fucking time. Most shit online is this in forums. I would like to say it's not like this on the Scratching Post Discord. And I think that in part is mostly because of being neuroaffirmative and validating. I think it's actually fine to say sometimes life fucking sucks without the need for someone providing any sort of emotional support to have to then, you know, switch into persecutor because they are getting emotional support back from somebody that's having a hard time. That's absolutely key, I think. But we want to talk really quickly before this stream even stops for a break as to how to get out of this, how to get people off their ass, right? We can talk about TA games. I kind of was hoping to talk about TA games. How do we get out of ass? Like this. The problem with me is I can't read what I've written. I've written, get off your ass, invite the other people off their ass. Okay, that's what I've written. I've written, get off your ass, invite the other people off their ass. Right. And I'm not even going to bother restarting that camera. I'm just going to go and do that with it. And then I'm going to do that with it, and I'm going to do that with it. There we go. Much better. The fact of the matter is, in this very rushed, poorly, completely unedited live stream, it is live after all, there's a camera on my face, which I want to move because it's really annoying. Sorry, everyone. Bear with me. Right, you need to charge properly. Let me plug it in. You have to wait and watch all of this because all of this stuff when I'm recording YouTube videos, I just do it by, you know, it's all behind the scenes shit, which sometimes gets posted on Cat Tier. Just saying, if any of you are interested in looking at behind the scenes more. Or you could just come along to a live stream. You could just pop along to a live stream. That also works. Yeah, it basically, like, you're never going to know that you're actually in a drama triangle, really, until something comes along and gives you a clue in. One of my clues in is when people start involving third parties in conversations with me. When somebody says, You know, so and so agrees with me. You're wrong. You're wrong. And by the way, this mutual agrees. Something like that, as an example. And you think, oh wow, I must be in a drama triangle now. Like one of us is the persecutor. One, you know, you're the victim, obviously. So I must be the persecutor, or I'm the rescuer, and the other person's the persecutor, or I'm the persecutor, and the other person's the rescuer, and you're the victim, and they're trying to rescue you from you, or you from me. Okay, I see where this is going. And it's like when you're able to see an ass for what it is, you can deal with it, right? That's what I'm trying to say. There's no... It's the actual games that get played, on the triangle. These are the games you need to look out for. So when somebody talks to you about the drama triangle and they're talking about persecutor, rescuer, victim, I mean, that's nice. But actually, this is just a dramatization, if you will, originally using fairy tales, but you know, it's a dramatization of the games people play. Cartman was a student of Burns who created transactional analysis. So the drama triangle is transactional analysis, kind of. Does that make sense? It's actually more about, I suppose, the okay. Like, you have to exit the triangle before your ass becomes a cautionary tale. But actually exiting the triangle, it doesn't involve not playing one of these roles and just ghosting people. It means stepping out of it and letting them know and inviting people to respond back to you in an adult ego state. We talked about ego states in my previous video and previous live stream on this subject. So basically, you need to identify the game that you're in. It might be a drama triangle, cool, but what's the actual game? What game are you playing? What psychological payoff are people looking for? And we are, as humans, really fucking bad at identifying the motivations of others. We're really bad at it. And I think Mike's hot take is that autistic people, neurodivergent people, are pretty bad at this. This is not an innate skill for our class. We're not born with a wonderful ass detector. You have to study a lot of asses to be able to spot an ass. Do you know what I mean? Oh man, I feel like I deserve tea and not some ass backwards triangle. Let me just read the chat for a bit. And senses, what happens if it becomes an ass square? Well, they can become actual kind of like multifaceted starfish shapes. Same thing. You identify the games, invite people to step out of it and be as an adult and invite people into an adult ego state. The other thing is boundaries help a lot as well. Let's take a 2-minute break and then we'll talk about boundaries. Is that good with everyone? If we do a 2-minute break. My throat hurts.
Rainbow trout and hummingbird wings.
Welcome back. A bit early. I stopped the tea and I just went for a whole ass hydrate merch bottle available in my merch store with Hydrate account on it. Drinking something tropical. She looks far too young to be drinking like that. Boundaries. Like, I'll give you an example. One of my boundaries is one of the issues I have, actually, and the reason for the boundary is that I prevaricate about issues a lot. I can literally destroy myself just with stress and anxiety and thinking about things that don't even need me to do such attention and energy. And one of the ways that I protect myself from that is by saying to people who are involved in that sort of thing, hey, look, I have to leave it, even unresolved. So Mike in the past could never even go to sleep without having every single thing resolved. I was an inbox zero kind of guy. Even in my personal relationships, I couldn't go to bed with like an argument, for example, like that's still going on. It would have to be resolved before I could sleep. That was an issue for me, and it was an issue for anyone who was having an argument with me. Okay, and I think the simple solution to that, and I say simple, it's taken me most of my life, which is that I can now sit with discomfort. I can sit with discomfort really, really well, actually. And but there's a limit as to how much time I'm willing to sit with discomfort. I'll just leave things in the past. And when people want to drag stuff up again, or they bring drama back up. And I've had this a lot in my interpersonal life, my private life. People bring up drama a lot. I'm not saying I'm like Taylor Swift or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like people bring up drama a lot. And it's like, oh man, that was like a year ago. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing point by point rebuttals. I'm not gonna. No, that's unhealthy. And then invite people to step out with you. Take that adult position and invite people to step out with you. But you got to know something, guys. None of you have any control over anybody ever. I mean, I would argue you shouldn't really seek to have control over people, but you've got no control over people, no influence over people. Like, speaking as a parent, my influence over my son ended when he hit high school, like it does with all parents, and pretty much all of a sudden, the biological kind of inclination to listen to your parents or listen to sort of, I don't want to say authority figures, but I don't want to say elders either. But what would have been elders in human history goes, and as so it should. And what becomes more important and more defining of personality becomes their peers, or your peers, or my peers, whatever. It's been a long time since my parents had any influence over how I behaved, with the notable exception of caring for them. But yes, who'd have seen that coming? But literally, stepping away from people is sometimes needed. And I don't mean it in the case of stepping away or being necessarily unkind or whatever. But having that boundary to knowing where it is. And I guess there's no point in knowing where boundaries are unless you don't bloody well, operate them every now and again. So that's kind of what I'm saying, guys. That's the solution, but there is no solution. But that's the solution. That's my personal solution. That's my hot take. This is from Mike. Steal it, use it. That's Mike's approach, but everyone has a different approach or no approach. I guess what I would say is, if you're watching my content and you don't have an approach to this and you've never thought about it, now you've got an opportunity to think about it and set your own policy. And I've just realized why the chat is a bit slow. And that's because stream latency is set to normal as opposed to ultra low. It's another task you have to do manually every single time you do a YouTube live stream. And I forgot to do it this time. Executive function overload. But to be fair, I would say the task loading is quite a lot for, you know, even the most multitasking neurotypical person of all time would struggle to follow all of the steps required to start a live stream on schedule every week. I think it is a lot to ask. And YouTube could do a lot better, like by having like, I don't know, default settings for everything, not just default settings for like title and description, but like actual default settings. That would be nice. You know, like monetization settings. Anyway, I think a lot of the time as well, I'm just looking at the triangle again and looking at the persecutor side. Some of you will know what I'm about to talk about. Is that you've held something in, right, for so long, and now your ass is on fire, and you end up snapping, either because somebody's pressed all your buttons, your triggers, whatever. Blah blah blah. That puts you in the persecutor position of a drama triangle. Try not to do that. Taste all day, wow ass. That's a brilliant metaphor. I feel very let me tell you how it it comes about when you've just given up and you're like, I've got half an hour. I don't know what to talk about. I've had an ass of a day. So I just wrote down a load of ass metaphors. You know? Do you want to hear a few more? I mean, if you guys want to hear more ass puns, I've written down a bunch of ass puns. That's all I've got. Obviously we can transactional analysis this. We can go into look at these TA games. But yeah, it's very much ass puns today. Appease, suffer, snap. That has legs. Hey, you reckon? You reckon? I think it's much better than persecutor, rescuer, victim. Because those are like the names of drama roles, and like no one ever goes, I am the rescuer here. As an example, the very first description is the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Or the Pied Piper, right? The magic piper that made the rats go. Like that fairy tale is the first example used by Cartman to describe the drama triangle. And like the piper starts in rescuer. But actually he's just a self-employed dude with questionable morals surrounding children. But that's not the point. The point is the Pied Piper starts off as a rescuer. Like he's literally just, I can make your rats go away by playing some music, some cool tunes, and then eventually he has to do a fuck you, pay me thing because the mayor is like, ha ha ha, you solved our problem, now we're not going to pay you. Everyone who's self-employed for any length of time will know what that one feels like. But you know, you basically like, you're not the rescuer though, are you? You're an appeaser. Like 100% you're an appeaser. And I don't mean it in a fawny way. I mean it like, you come to this town, it's a medieval town, and like, you're just trying to appease, like, but also it kind of works with people pleasing. Just a thought. Just a thought. But yeah, new drama triangle. One more thing. And I can't draw it for you because my camera is run out of charge and it's here. See? This little thing. So the issue is psychological gimmicks. Now, psychological gimmick is like this weird kind of value that you have, but you've kind of given it to yourself, or you've inherited it from your parents, or you know, society or whatever. And it's like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of a psychological gimmick. Women should stay at home in the kitchen and make sandwiches for men in exclusively heterosexual relationships. Each of these are gimmicks. men should go out and work, and men should expect that their food be on the table at 6 p.m. or whatever it is when they get home, blah, 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 blah. That's a gimmick. These are all psychological gimmicks. I'll give you one of mine. One of my psychological gimmicks is inbox zero. I have literally been like, I have to shut down every support ticket. No one's waiting on me for anything. There's no arguments in my life. Everything is, so-called peaceful. Like I just can't go to sleep if there's an argument. I just hated it. I could not deal with it. This isn't like a life value I chose on a character creation sheet. It's just like, it's a gimmick, okay? And these gimmicks can really get you into trouble because, the only way I've been able to have boundaries in my life is by actually sitting and allowing people to, if somebody wants to start troll drama or something, or if somebody wants to start arguing, that's on them. I'm going to go to bed. It ain't going to spoil my sleep. I'm just going to get on but prior to, I guess 40-year-old Mike, I would never, I'd constantly fawn and avoid drama and stuff. And now I don't. Now I'm like, we can sit with discomfort. I can quite happily sit in a room with people really pissed with me. That took a long time to get to. And as a result, right? I found in business meetings that I no longer have, although that's not true. Right now I'm having quite a few. But I find in business meetings, that goes a long way. Like that actually controls the room. If you're a guy who literally walks into a room and doesn't give a shit what people think, you have all the negotiation cards. Like who'd have thought it? These little gimmicks of mine that I thought were being, living a good life were holding me back. I'm not trying to talk about not having, I'm not trying to talk about not having values or not having, or sacrificing, being, lawful good or whatever. I'm just saying, you have this gimmick, nobody needs you to be inbox zero every day. No one. It can't be done. It can be done. It can be done a lot of the time, but then there are times when it can't be done, and then you'll end up on this weird pressure that you've created for yourself. So you seem like you've cultivated the zero fucks given approach, Mike. Kinda. I think some of it is just being older. I think as you age, this just will happen to you over time, slowly. Younger folks in the chat, I think you're going to find that this is how things are going to be for you as you age. You're going to end up just doing a zero fucks given. Just ultimately, you will die giving no fucks. And I'm trying to accelerate that process. And it's not about giving no fucks. It's about you. It's because you deserve better than your ass script. Your ass script. Trying to live a stress-free life leads to more stress. Yeah. Trying to live a stress-free life. Gimmick, rampant in fairy tales, dead mothers. Yeah, that's true, actually, Anne-Marie. Yeah. But I would call that more of a trope. But yeah. Yeah, everyone's asking for more ass puns. Okay. Hi Snooker. I kindly ask for more puns. Tall Hobbit Stitches here for the ass puns. That is a big ask. An even bigger ass. I did write one about a Bermuda Triangle. I conflated ass and Bermuda Triangle because of Drama Triangle, and I can't remember what the pun was, but it was really funny. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's not go to Fox. I have tremendous difficulty making boundaries. I know I should, but I never do because I'm so tired of fighting all the time. You will find, depending on the purpose of the boundary, usually you've got someone in mind when you have a boundary. Am I right? Have I called you out? And quite often these boundaries come from a sort of ass conditioning, if you will. An appeasement, suffer and snap kind of triangle appeasement. You're trying to avoid it, so you make these boundaries to deal with your ass conditioning. And yeah, because you have someone in mind. I'm just saying, I'm just Darren Browning you. I've got a pretty good idea. You know, you have a boundary. You know, when somebody writes a comment like that, I always think about what's the hidden story. And the hidden story there is, you know, you're struggling to assert the boundary because it's about someone in particular. And if it's about someone in particular and you assert that boundary, they're going to blow up in your face. So that is the problem. Gemma, thank you very much. You don't have to. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm just reading the chat very quickly. Just reading the chat. I'm sorry it's a little bit delayed, by the way. Again, like I say, it's a setting in YouTube when you do a live stream to set the stream latency, and I normally do ultra low latency. So literally it's like super fast, rather than being like delayed. I don't even know what normal latency is. I think it's 30 seconds or something. I don't know. Feels like a minute. So many potential band names today. Ass conditioning is another one. Frosh Finchen, ASD in the Netherlands and Germany is called ass. That's good to know. That's good to know. I had no idea. That's hilarious. You'd have thought they'd have known. It must be an isosceles triangle. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is so good. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I am thoroughly I am thoroughly enjoying Soup. What you're describing is something the autistic monotropic mind is actually beautifully attuned to. Is one comment that's going to need another explanation because we have just gone out of time sync. Tudor Bell, I'm struggling to prioritize my own work over supporting others who need me at work. I had to go proper offline today to get stuff done from my head because of the gimmicks. Yeah. So, two things for you on this one. One of them is this concept of importance and the concept of urgency. Okay? You can actually chart this. You can do a little, you know, like game theory does like the four squares. So you can have you and them, and you can have important and urgent. And something can be very important. And it can be very urgent. It can be urgent for someone else. And it can be important to them or not. Whether or not that's also important for you or also urgent for you, probably isn't. If any of you have ever had to deal with customer services, of course you have. Everyone has. Everyone's had to deal with customer services of some description at some point. You will realize really, really quickly that the agent that you're speaking to or chatting to or emailing or whatever, or web chat, whatever, is not feeling the same amount of importance or urgency of your case as you are. And that's perfectly normal. The problem is when you find yourself in an organization and you're working with colleagues on a level and they come to you with their problem and all of a sudden it is the most urgent thing in the world and it has to be done right now. And in tech, this happens all the time. And I find it really, really helpful to explain to people, actually, look, that might be urgent for you, but I have other priorities. You know, I could speak to my line manager, I could speak to my boss, blah, 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 blah. This became, it's less of an issue in some respects, the way I manage self-employment, which has usually been to say, I'll do a courtesy and I'll send a quick email to whoever it is my reporting contact is, who will not authorize my time to help. Because what the fuck? There's a cost to this? You'll often find, you know, particularly among salaried employees, is people will put on each other. It becomes really difficult. And the flip side to that is you also have to demonstrate trust. You have to be part of the team. You know, for example, it's hard to say. This isn't a one size fits all for everyone in every circumstance in every country. Oh my goodness! But like general piece of advice is you will need to get yourself like a couple of years of sort of social proof. You know, if you want the good shit, you have to have that sort of like social credit behind you, a sort of like a social credit score. You know, being good, being whiter than white for a while, earning trust. And a lot of the time, you'll find middle managers, particularly, really good at this. They are good at lying and conniving and getting their own way and, you know, fucking you over. And you wonder, how do they get away with it? And the simple answer is because they've earned sufficient social capital. And then they can do it. You know, their word against yours, yeah, you're going to lose. Because they've done 2 years of hard slog, just keeping their nose clean and just being good. And that's all management will ever see. It's a really interesting one to explore and explode. And I fully intend to. And listen, guys, if there's one thing I could do on YouTube that would actually be helpful, I think it probably is talking about employment and work stuff. Only because I have done like hundreds of job interviews, like literally hundreds. Like I can't remember how many hundreds. I was thinking 300, but that's way low. It's way more than 300. Must be like 600. It's like, it's crazy numbers of job interviews I've done. I treated it as an extreme sport for a while. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm making a video on ABA and I'm becoming an ABA registered behaviorist technician in order to do the damn video. So yes, if you didn't realize quite how committed I am, committable. But yeah, I will put out a ton of content on employment stuff as much as I possibly can. Many videos on it. You may as well learn from the Zonday 600 interview. Sounds exhausting. It was because I was an IT contractor. So a lot of my jobs were for like a week or 2 weeks at a time. And each time I'd have to do like maybe 10 interviews for different companies. I would just apply for everything. And then what would happen is if in 1 month I'm then doing 20 interviews, in 1 year, that's over 100 interviews, like conservatively over 100 interviews. And I was doing it for like 20 years. Not always interviewing. I'll be honest, the last 10 years of my life, I haven't done any interviews. But the 10 years before that, when I was in Farnborough, I was interviewing all the time. I was constantly interviewing, like all the time. Like every week I had a bunch of interviews. Like no question, like it was just constant interviewing. You just sort of work it into your lunch breaks. Okay. Right. Yannicka has given us notice that she's not available currently to unhide people if you automatically get suppressed. If you ask messages. Yannicka, enjoy your break. Oh, that must have been fun for her. I'm sure that's just what she wanted as well, to hop onto a stream with a bazillion ass puns. This sort of stuff doesn't work too well on YouTube. There's no suppression filters here. Tell a lie. I turned strict content moderation on the telepathy tapes video just because I was getting a bit sick of all of the comments. Yeah, it was definitely something. Nikki Bishop going through an agency. Yeah, I mean, I had so many problems with agencies. I can't even tell you. So what would happen is agencies would poach my CV. They do it to everyone. It wasn't especially me or whatever. It was just, this is what they did. And often what they would do is they would then post jobs, but fake jobs, to try and get your, people to apply for them based off your CV and who you'd recently worked for. Because I would see a load of jobs that I was applying for and go, hang on a second, those are the jobs I've just done. Is that company like hiring again? No. It's because a recruitment agent got my CV that I just updated and uploaded to a job site that was fresh. And then they just harvested the last job I did and used that as a job description and just posted that out again, just to harvest and fish for CVs and things. It's been, it's a nightmare. I have about 300 banned words to get auto hidden. Okay. That's good to know. You're obviously a massive YouTuber. I've got quite a few. So as an example, there are a bunch of names that I've random names. I apologize, by the way, if anybody finds one of these random names, and you find that it automatically doesn't post your post or whatever. That's there to prevent the, I don't know what the best word to use is, but it's like doxing bots and doxing attacks. There's like honeypots there. So they're there to catch the honeypots so that the bots go, he doesn't like these words being used, and then so on and so forth. And then I've got things like certain crypto phrases, certain like giveaways or whatever. Just that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, ass is fine. Shit is fine. The only problem is whether I suppose the only issue is whether it comes out of my mouth and how often. And I think it's not fine to put it in a thumbnail or in the first few seconds of the video, unless it's a music video, in which case it's fine. But if anyone wants a laugh, by the way, a profanity-laden laugh, YouTube, as in YouTube, YouTube have a video, and it's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. Just because it's hilarious to watch a representative of Google say all of the naughty words. They're talking about what profanity you are and aren't allowed to use. And well, with respect to advertising standards and community standards. But it's very amusing to watch a man from Google go, douchebag, arsehole. And it's just funny. I just can't watch corporate America guy saying very, very naughty words on YouTube to educate creators. It is one of the funniest videos. It is funny because there's no context to it. He's just reading out the naughty words and, because they're kind of tier ranking the naughty words. It's very funny. If you want to find it, it's on YouTube. I think it's called Creator Profanity Update or something like that. Very amusing. I've watched it like 5 or 6 times. It just tickles me like Monty Python tickles me. It's just the flat effect, of corporate guy, and no doubt it was very funny for them as well, but they couldn't show it because it's corporate. The BBC have rules, but they're written down and they're a lot more. It's a lot more eloquent. so the BBC are like, right, these are the rules. These are things you can say before 9 p.m. These are things you cannot say after 9 p.m. And it's just great. You've been demonetized for using the word Belgium. I feel like a bad YouTuber for using naughty words like this. I really shouldn't. I'm just scrolling the chat. Sorry. Yeah, Cheatbot. Yeah, the important urgent diagram. Yeah, you'll find it elsewhere. I'm sure. I don't believe this is something I made. I'll let you know if it is. All the green stuff on the drama triangle, I made these up. This is me. I designed the green stuff. The black stuff is all, transactional analysis and, copyright, Stephen Cartman, whatever. But the green, the ass stuff, that's all me. But yeah, important, urgent. Yeah, totally. Something can be important to someone. And obviously, you kind of want to be helpful, whatever, if you can. But, you might need to move stuff, and have some boundaries, but then also not appear like a stick in the mud, and that you are actually going to be helping your colleagues, but then also, it's a pain in the ass. And I have to say, self-employment does help with this a lot, because you can always hide behind this is the work I've been tasked with doing. Anything extra is extra, unless it really is something quick you can help someone with, But I wouldn't go out of my way to help someone like that, like on a contract site, whatever. It's just not really going to happen. And I get it a lot. It's just weird. Yeah, in fact, we haven't even talked about the whole. We will do. I will make YouTube videos on this. Like, it's so close to my heart, and I have tons of notes already, which is like the job. The job's like already half done, basically. I could just look in my journals and just if I can read them, and then just like go, oh, here you go, instant content. Because the whole kind of doing stuff for exposure as well. It's just, I know that it's so funny. It's become a meme. But 20 years ago, there was an awful lot of do stuff for exposure. There was a lot of abuse, I suppose, of people to do stuff. And in the tech industry, we see an awful lot of companies that will put out requirements to do a certain thing as a job interview. And then you'll get like 20 candidates giving you suggestions for how to resolve your problem. I think that's going to be less likely with AI, but that's kind of a sucky thing to do. Another one I've seen a lot of is with digital artists and musicians. It's the competition. When companies run competitions, it's really sucky, because they could put, like, for example, $1,000 into a pot and say, hey, give us your best piece of artwork for this, whatever, let's say Pride Month. And then all of a sudden, you get inundated with all this artwork for free that the company can use because, you've signed it away. And then only one person will get $1,000, but the company's got like 500 mock-ups or something. And it's like, hey, that's so cheap. None of this is the right way to be. And it annoys me intensely. And not that anyone would enter a competition like that. If you do, it's fun, like from your perspective, you want to. But it just annoys me. And that brings me finally to the last thing I wanted to talk about, which was power dynamics. And I've made no notes. So power dynamics then, because we have assumed so far that everybody is on a level, apart from the children, who, spoiler alert, but in the fairy tale, the children don't make it. The children are gone. But the Pied Piper and the mayor, they have an equal power dynamic going on. So the Pied Piper the mayor has a problem with the rats. The Pied Piper says, I can make the problem go away. Mayor says, yeah, do it and I'll pay you. Pied Piper does it. The mayor goes, ha, 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 ha. You've solved my problem. I'm not going to pay you now. What are you going to do about it? You can't bring the rats back. Pied Piper goes, no, sure, but I'll take your children away. What the fuck? Let's not read too much into it. This is not social commentary. I'm just saying that these two roles have got the same amount of power. They are similarly powerful, okay, on this game. And they hop around the different roles. But what if the power dynamic is different? What if, just saying, what if the power dynamic is different? What if the mayor has sufficient power dynamic and prevents the children from being taken, or whatever. What if as per the real world, there is some hidden power dynamic, or your persecutor is in a position of responsibility and authority over the person in the victim role. What then? Then it becomes really, really complicated. And, because I've talked about things like drama triangles amongst friends or drama triangles in communities, but when power dynamics are different, and it's all different. It's all different. It's different everywhere. Everything. If you're a teen, you're watching this and you're struggling with something, and it's in relation to your family, and you're in rural America, like in rural Arizona with no transport, no money. The answers to everything, including boundary enforcement. And I'm not saying there's no victim blaming here. I'm not. This is all very, very theoretical, but it also isn't, is it? The issue is you've got to. I was hoping somebody would just like just like provide the answer here, but there is no real answer, is there? I think community helps. I think one of the things that I find really, really helpful and have found really, really helpful just throughout my life, except for all of the younger bits. Let's call it the first half, shall we? Or the first 2/3. Is that, having a support network that can provide a sort of anchoring, a kind of psychological anchor, not just as to what normal relationships are. That would be nice. But like, it provides you with a counterbalance to whatever it is you might see yourself in. For example, if you ever find yourself in a cult, you'll find yourself rapidly being, having your networks cut away from you. You'll find yourself to be individual. What's the word? To be alone. And the issue is if you have a community, and this is not a segue for the scratching post, but it could be, but it isn't. No one ever says this, but other communities are available, etc. But the issue is if you have a support group, even in online is great, in person is great. One doesn't belie the other. Have both. Work on achieving both. They can really help you with your adult ego state. Indoctrinated and isolated, Maricat, thank you. Isolated was the word I was looking for. I really love the. I really love the. This is the cult of Hydra soup. This is the cult of Hydra. This is the cult of Hydra. Remember to hydrate. Amen. As I was saying, remember to hydrate. Meow. As I was saying, if you have a support group, it provides a psychological anchoring, which can allow you to identify these issues, see when something is unsafe, or get help. Even just have a listening ear. I think that's so important. That's so important for everybody. In Hydra's name. Meow. Hail Hydra. No, we can't hail Hydra. Hail legally distinct Hydra. Hail legally distinct. Hail legally distinct non-fantasy Hydra. Meow. That's what I was saying. I feel like I'm a newscaster. Okay. So, I mean, as I was saying, right? Just a support group. And everyone's situations are different. And power dynamics suck and should be avoided. And that's why we have rules in society about things like, romantic relationships between people that they've got a power dynamic, and are in a regulated profession, for instance. Because, start healthy. Start like you mean to go on. Isn't that a goal? Typing on the bus is the worst. Hopefully it's a bus with aircon. Leslie, I hope you're joking. If Polly is a princess, I think Hydra is queen. Oh, yes. Hell, Queen Hydra. Oh. That's what we've deviated into now. Does anyone want my notes, by the way? I know I know this is not useful for anyone. Does anyone want it? I could post it. Somebody wants my notes. Full-blown ass spiral. I could send it to someone. We could do a draw for the full-blown ass spiral. And I could make it slightly more interesting by including a very, very shiny hydrate sticker. Post it in the Discord. Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Actually, I could probably do a bit more than that, actually. I've got quite a few little bits and pieces. Hang on. Don't know if you guys remember this one. Yeah, I'll stick it. I'll do some. I'll put some like channel. This is this is not channel merch. This is. I am a tiny tuber. A tiny tuber. Is it a chill stream? I don't know. I can't remember what stream this was for. Red Gen, I have put a shiny hydrate sticker in the book I sent you. Saber convinced me to. Saber also wanted to sign the book. Saber has also signed the book. So it's been signed by Hydra, Anna, and Saber. Sorry, why did my brain stop working? Is that a fine graphic tee? It's the cat I always draw. Do you know what's really, really funny? The chance of me ever doing graffiti is I've never done graffiti, but like if I ever did, it would be this. This would be my graffiti. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just terrible. Like, oh, re-engaging. Yes. Okay, right. So, re-engaging. Can we talk about re-engaging? Re-engaging. We've got a problem, guys. Which is, you know, you think the drama triangle just goes away. You think you can get out of ass through boundaries. You can't work your way out of an ass through boundaries. Through its boundaries. No, you can't, because you'll get pulled back in. And there are different ways people might pull you back in. It could be a message, could be a phone call, it could be a letter even, it could be a card, it could be, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is people sometimes, like people who love the drama triangles, like some people really, really like them. They find them comforting. We'll try and hook you back in. And literally, you think the drama triangle's been done. Oh no, it's come back. The return of the ass. And it just, you know, it will keep you going in circles. You know, literally emotionally, and metaphorical circles. Literal circles? No, just emotional circles and metaphorical circles. But yeah, you need to bust out of that ass. And just know when people are trying to suck you back in. Just no, don't do it. You don't have to. You're an adult. You don't have to. Fuck it. Everyone's a human being. Everyone has an asshole. Well, not everyone has an asshole. Most people have assholes. Everyone has a metaphorical asshole. And therefore, just you know, I give you permission to exit the triangle. Save your whole damn ass. Don't, just say no to ass. Phoenix, thank you very much for your super chat. You know what I mean? The return of the ass. Anik. Yeah. You just need to re-engaging when you take your fiance back. What the hell? There's a story there. Return of the ass. Mark Rosen's single. That's funny. That's funny. I'm just reading the thing. Kick-ass triangle art. Amazing. Imagine Fox, Hydrate Sticker. We need to do more Hydrate Sticker giveaways. We just did a bunch for the first year of the Scratching Post. I'm just putting everybody's ass on notice. I'm trying to make everybody more ass aware. I think it's an important public safety announcement. I was trying to get the word ass into that into PSA. My God, ass is such a cool word. It literally puns with everything. It just literally. It's so. What's a word that rhymes with everything? Like orange. It just rhymes with everything. Slap, indeed. Oh, we haven't even got to PSA. Oh, Chloe J. Do you know what? Do you know something I actually really enjoy? Do you know what? I really love this. I actually thoroughly enjoy this. I love seeing the wit and the just the crowdsourced brain just vibrating with explosive ass energy. Astistic AF and the Astisticats. Today we are the Astisticats. Yeah, no, my brain is like. We used to play a game, not an intentional game, not a game of my choosing, where I would just not remember a word and then you guys would remember the word and that was hilarious. But no, this is different. This is just everyone just. Also, if I can get everybody echolalia-ing ass, I don't know, it's psychologically pleasing. Okay, so we've covered why do people play drama triangle stuff. It's psychological relief, okay, and it's about a payoff. And that payoff, it comes down to transactional analysis. If you didn't watch my video on TA, I made one on YouTube. It's just proper edited video on TA. And I talk about payoffs there. But imagine it as like psychological relief. It's sometimes just scratching an itch. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes whatever it is, it's just an outlet. Okay, don't take it personally. The way to escape a drama triangle, once you know that you're in one, and you can label people's roles, ideally as appease Excuse me. Suffer and snap. I forgot my own terms there. Or ass. When you know your ass roll. Time to get out. Getting out means stepping out of the drama triangle and inviting people to do the same. It's up to you if you want to invite people to do the same. I mean, like, you know, you can just, you know, ghosting people is fine if you have to. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, but like, it's not about that. It's your gimmicks and your values. You do you, right? We're chaotic neutral here. Like, you do you. But I'm just saying, adult ego state, step out, encourage the other person to do the same. There's a really good chance they won't. Flip everyone off and walk away is also an option. That would put you in the persecutor role, though. But if you're happy with that, high five. I'm assuming that you're not happy with where you are on the drama triangle. I mean, I've made that implicit assumption. And also, be intentional with your support groups, as it were. I don't want to use the term support group to describe stuff because then people might think, oh, Mike's hosting a support group. Mike is not hosting a support group. The Scratching Post is incredibly supportive and supporting, but I am not comfortable calling it a support group. But if it's support group to you, it's support group to you. I'm just saying. I guess I'm not. Don't let me take that away. We have support channels and so on. What is Barvinci shoehorning into my ass analogy? I can't see it in the chat. Never mind. But yeah, work on your, because I'm giving very generic advice here now. Like, this is like, just work on support networks. Like, and drama triangles it can be an online thing too. Don't forget, drama triangles can be an online thing. For me, the biggest thing I've had to work on in my life is my gimmick about just making peace and making sure that everyone is happy with everyone all the time, sort of thing, and that everyone's happy with me, and that there's no drama and there's no arguments and all this sort of stuff. Inbox zero, etc. No, that's just such a massive burden and can be abused by people who know that that's what you're like. They can actually say start an argument at 11 p.m. in order to deprive you of sleep. It can happen. I'm just saying. The problem was me. I'm the problem. It's me, to borrow from Taylor Swift again. And I learnt to undo that gimmick in myself, and it took me decades. And now I'm happy with discomfort. I'm not saying I'm happy with it, but I can sit in discomfort and not feel the silence. That's a hard thing to do, by the way. Work on it yourselves. Yeah, that's literally like all I could hope for is an army of psychologically strong autism people. Could you imagine? That's all I would hope for. Those autism moms, they don't stand a chance. Hell Hydra. First of her name. A breaker of kibble and drinker of fluids. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. Soup, you're an aspiration to us, Mike. That's all I would ever ask for. Classic YouTube. Seeing discomfort's a superpower. It takes some work to get there, though. Yeah, it does, Marcy. It really does. Not filling silence. The Stray Hoovian, welcome. Tim, welcome. The only power some of you have is to walk away. How and why would you invite them with you? Yeah, walking away is important too. I mean, look, withdrawing is one of the states that it's unfortunately is not intimacy, is it? It's not living entirely authentically. It's one of the default human states described by Eric Berne. But yeah, sometimes it's just the better option, right? Sometimes it's a necessary option. Drink tea in her honor. I shall get Hydra. Next International Hydra Army. I feel like the branding. Legally distinct Hydra Army. I don't want Marvel coming after me. So it's not a group of Discord friends, it's an army. Yeah, it's just, you know. That's so funny. And look, I'm gonna what do the youngsters call it now? The Gen Zs. Own your privilege, is that right? Part of my privilege is hard-earned privilege, but there are consequences to my actions if I choose to do so. But I could just like not do anything. I'm not saying I could live like financially or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, it's like with respect to things like emails, I could just ignore everything. I'd end up in a lot of trouble. Like bad things would ultimately happen, but you know, if I did it for a day or two, it's no big deal, right? Sometimes. How many ass puns did I do? I wrote a few down here on my computer. I did ass backward, so you deserve rest, not ass backward validation loops. That's more of a tech one. I did snapping is just your inner ass unleashing years of swallowed rage. Lots of, you know, the ass strikes back and return of the ass and all this sort of thing. Yep, all of that. Yeah, exit the cycle before your ass becomes a cautionary tale. Yep. I just wrote a load of ass puns. This is... You guys need to understand something. Like behind the scenes thing. Like, I'm just like... I only got home at like 5, and then I'm like, shit, I need to eat something. And then Nina got back, and then so I just made us some pizza and some mushrooms. Mushrooms are okay, surprisingly. I wouldn't normally go for them, but they were on offer, so I thought I'd try them. And we're eating, I'm having a chat. And I'm like, my brain is just broken. Because she's like, oh, what's your live stream about? Or like, what are your video about? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I just need to get off my ass. And I'm just like, ass. Invite other people to get off their ass. Drama triangle. Assholes. Drama triangle. Assholes. Drama triangle. Fuck me. What? No, what's all this rescuer shit? There could be a better name that's related to asses. Asperger's. Yes, exactly. And it's like, so I'm just going like, okay, ass. Right, okay. How can I relabel the drama triangle? Okay, I need to write on some games on the triangle because that's what it's about. It explains game roles. Okay, that bit's easy. TA, is a, you know, I've done loads of content on it, so TA is okay. But how do I frame this as an ass? And that's me literally right into the start of the stream, and then I had technical issues. So I just needed you to know And then Yannicka has unhidden 300 mentions of ass from the chat. And then she got tired. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. YouTube is a funny, funny place. I want to remind everyone very gently about some recent changes that I made to my Patreon. We're now in the kitten tier and the cat tier. In fact, all tiers get a little bit better, although Tiger tier, I appreciate, is a bit delayed. Kitten tier now gets videos. And I'm thinking of asking a poll. Because I have some like videos from like a long, long time ago. And I'm wondering if you guys fancy seeing them. Like, you've seen bits of B-roll. You haven't seen any B-roll from Saber's adoption. I made a whole ass video about Saber's adoption. And I know everyone comes for autism, but like it might be interesting for some of you. So I might put a poll up soon asking like, hey, do you guys want to see like one of my old videos? It just might be interesting for you. And like, you know, fill in some backstory. So that might well happen soon. So you'll get an email. Yes. Now I'm going to go and get myself a whole ass snack. I think that's what the I think that's what Gen Z says. A whole ass snack. I'm going to get myself a whole ass snack and see some of you on the Patreon. But I have a problem. Because I can't. There's some weird stuff going on here. Oh, hang on. Sorry. This is Hydra. I forgot to mention it, as some of you haven't seen Hydra. Here's a quick Hydra for you.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our gay apparel. Fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. Fa la 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 la.
Sorry. I like that one.